Welcome. I'm Kelly Kearney from Starry Constellation Magazine, and with me today is one of the stars of this summer's quirky, fun comedy. It's got a girl power vibe. Space Cadet actress Yasha Jackson. Thanks for joining me today, Yasha. This is great.
I'm so glad to be here in this heat wave.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
so
I
glad
know
to be
it's so hot. I'm in New York, and it's very, very hot in New York.
same. Same. I'm like,
You're in New
did
York as
we
well.
accidentally? Yeah, I'm in New York. It's giving Los Angeles. It's giving the desert. It's giving, what is it giving? Yeah, it's definitely something. This is different. This is different than
It's
last week,
giving
right?
vacation, and let's get out of here. Is what it's giving.
Come on, Kelly. Come on.
So
You
let's
said
talk
it
about
better.
this movie. It's fantastic. You play career military and astronaut in training, Grace Jackson, and it's this
Hmm.
quirky summer comedy film that really reminds me of Legally Blonde or Private Benjamin. I feel like it's going to be a cult classic, to be honest. What was your first
Yeah.
reaction when you read the script, Yasha?
Okay, Kelly, I have to tell you, um, I auditioned for, I auditioned for it, in the age of the self-tape, right? So in the past, we would go in, you get flown out, you get the five-star treatment. Now it's just a click and a Zoom. So I did the tape and I never heard anything back. And I was in LA doing some press for a different show that I was on. And then my agent called me and it's like, remember that movie that you auditioned for? I was like, hmm, which one? We auditioned a lot. And he was like, Space Cadet. I was like, yeah. They were like, well, they want to offer you the role. You start tomorrow. I
Oh,
said, oh, tomorrow is in tomorrow. I'm not even in New York. I'm in LA. They were like, okay, get on the next flight and you start tomorrow. So for me, it was a little bit of a game of catch up because obviously in pre-production, you get to meet people, you get to meet your director, you get to have all these conversations. I jumped in so fast, 4 o'clock call time, coming from the West Coast. And I had to do the work on the go, if that makes sense. Because it was that has never happened to me before. I never replaced somebody within 24 hours of filming, but I guess I was next on the list.
right.
The person I think got COVID or something like that. So for me, it was different. It was fun. I appreciate that, opposed to being in my head and trying to. And it's not that kind of movie, as you saw. It's not that kind of movie. It's a playful romp, right? It is reminiscent of those movies. It's 2024. We don't get to be that silly, as silly
Yeah.
as this movie is. So
Yeah, I feel like
yeah.
in the last couple of years, there's been a few films like that, and this fits in that genre. I saw Bottoms last year; that was similar, and I feel like this really hits that cult comedy classic that
Yeah.
people always love for a summer film. What was
Hmm.
the scene or maybe a theme that stuck out for you that made you want to sign on?
Honestly, just the theme of not giving up. Don't give up. Life happens, right? Especially in 2024, we've seen a pandemic. We've seen so many gruesome things that come and beat you up and try to suck you dry and knock you off your axis. So for me, the theme of okay, it's been 10 years. Okay, there's been some tragedy. Okay, I've given up on me. But even though I gave up on me, I'm going to give up on giving up and I'm going to stick with it. So for me, that theme is what attracted me to the movie because at this time in the world, people need to hear that. Okay,
Right.
you got knocked down. You got knocked out, honey. You're missing two front teeth. You're bald in the back. Get up, try again, and don't give up on you. If you really have something that's calling you. It doesn't matter what has happened to you. You owe it to yourself to get back on the horse, and you never know where you may land.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about this movie. Not only is it funny you're cheering for the main character Rex Simpson, who's played by Emma Roberts, but
Mhm.
you relate to her in a little bit, and you have some hope that there's something better for people who maybe stalled in life a little bit. Now they're trying
Yeah,
to make better for themselves. I really found that inspiring as much as it was funny.
yeah.
Yeah, your character is the military brains of this operation and very different from Emma Roberts' character
Mhm.
Rex. How
Extremely.
was Grace first described to you? And did she kind of manifest as you were playing it? Did she kind of
Mhm.
jump off the page a little more and you were given a little freedom with her?
Mhm. When she was first pitched to me, um, it was that she was a mysterious, tight-lipped, strong capable mystery. And who doesn't want to play a mystery? Who doesn't want to be mysterious? So I was like, okay. And as an actor, I do a lot of comedy. I was on a show, we got nominated for best comedic ensemble. I'm used to doing comedies, but this is underplayed. Like this character, I don't have to be big and bold.
Yeah.
More so, as you know, as you saw, it's in the expressions, it's in the thoughts. Mm-hmm. So it was first pitched to me as someone that's mysterious, but as we worked on it, and it's long days, Kelly, long days, very long days, doing some things that are physically, challenging. As it progressed, as we worked on it, I found, okay, she may be quiet, but her face is always going to tell the story. You're going to find out what I'm thinking through my face. So that's how I built upon her. Like she may be mysterious, but she doesn't have a good poker face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And everyone in the cast, they really brought their comedy game. Was there much room to kind of improve on that? Were you given a little bit more freedom to kind of express yourself?
Honestly, Kelly, Liz Garcia,
writer director.
Yes, I'm like thinking back on the movies and the series that I've done. I don't think I've ever had a director like Liz where she gives you're not scared to say, okay, I want to try something. Roll with me here. Just give me a second. I got a thought. Can we play with it? Liz has that beautiful, let's give it energy to the point where even to this day, the whole cast, we get up. I was in a play off Broadway last year. Andrew was in a play. We go to see each other's shows. She created an environment that allowed you to feel like, I'm going to try, and it may actually suck. It may be the worst thought ever, but I'm not going to die. And that gives me license to try another thing, even if it sucks, and I'm not going to die, and we'll try it again. So I think was a key part of this film, just feeling free. Like the energy that you get watching it is the energy that it is filming 16-hour days, sometimes in a physically compromising position. There was safety and there was freedom and there was fun. So I think a lot of the comedy comes from that, because as you know, Kelly, it's a lot. Like the comedy is like on the note.
And it's really physical too. A lot of comedy is really physical. And I feel like what you were saying about Liz creating this sort of, it's an ensemble cast. Mm-hmm. You've kind of created this bond, and that's needed for I'm not going to give anything away, but what you guys have to go through as a group. And I felt like those bonds probably added to your performances a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Because everyone is playing, you have, as you know, the character, it's a very, very character forward ensemble. So my character may be nothing like Emma's character, nothing like Kuhu's character, nothing like Desi's character. But if we're creating an environment where you can just play, then you can find it as we go along, which was important for me because I was cast. So like the first scene that we shot was for the first day of me being on set was very far into the movie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay. And I'm jumping in and I'm with hair and makeup and costumes, and I'm jumping in straight from Los Angeles. And even that first day, I felt the freedom to ask questions and make bold decisions. And I think that's because exactly what you said, that ensemble spirit and that yes and. Every artist wants to feel like you don't want to feel worried when you're working. You don't want to, because that dims your light. And I felt like that was not one iota of this experience for the couple months that we shot.
The cast, everyone has their specific role in comedy for this cast, everyone does a great job. But was there someone in particular who had like a bit of difficulty keeping it together in those funny moments?
Okay, Andrew, who plays Captain Jack, y'all didn't even get to see a quarter of the non-sensory. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be like you when I grow up, Andrew. Especially being like the only guy, one of the only guys, and he would always find like a take where he's eating food and improving and doing something physically that you could hurt your body doing. So I would give my hats to Andrew McCall.
Captain. Oh, that's great. What about the space training? Must have been kind of fun, maybe scary. Where did you film that?
We shot it in Alabama at
Oh.
the Space Center, and it was so hot and it was so country. And so hot and country, and a bunch of actors flying
Mm-hmm.
from New York and LA. It was fun and it was sweaty for real. Like we're really doing those things. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is not a fake scream. I'm scared. You spinning me around, around, and around. So the physical component was just enough where it didn't feel like you're a liability here, but just
Right.
enough that you feel like this is what we live to do. All actors live to do this sort of stuff. So um the physical component was real and true. We really did those exercises in the heat and the sun. So
What about the space scenes? Were those filmed
on
through
in
CG?
space, yeah, we
Yeah.
went to space. We went to space. We had this incredible budget. Uh, you know what was so cool about the space scenes? I've never done a space movie. The funny thing is, I shot a pilot for ABC, playing a pilot, and then I was on a show called Flight Attendant, playing a flight attendant.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never done a space movie, and they're using green screens, and then you're
Right.
using your core strength, Kelly. They're using like they're putting a chair wrapped in green, and you're like sitting on it, and you're just simulating that there's no gravity. So
Whoa.
after every take, we would be like, "Can I have some juice? Can I have some electrolytes?" Because you're shaking, trying to do these small, minute movements, pretending that you have no gravity. So we shot the space scenes using the magic of the green tape,
Yeah. Yeah,
taping a
that's interesting.
chair.
And all these physical moments, all this physical comedy, the highlights were just like, I'm sure, out of this world, no pun intended. What was your favorite scene to film? When you think back on like your experience, you're like, that was my all-time favorite. Whether it was funny, whether it challenged you.
Okay, I'm gonna say my second thing because I don't want to give it away. My first thing would kind of give away the plot.
Oh yeah, let's not do that.
But I think one of my favorite scenes. Oh, dang, I won't give the story away. But we're all together, um, in the spaceship, celebrating and taking a load off of how difficult the process is when you're trying to become a freaking astronaut for
Yeah.
the US of A. So I feel like one of my we have this like dance party scene where we're like dancing and there's no gravity and there's food and there's joy, and that will go down in my heart. It's one of the most fun things, most rare things I've ever gotten to do as an actor.
Was there a moment that was challenging for you to film that you were like, wow, this is really hard? I'd expect that.
What was a difficult scene? You know what? I will say I had a moment, and it wasn't about the script. It was about the fact that we were shooting one of our final days in Alabama in the sun. We were losing the sun a little bit. And I just felt my fear had nothing to do with anything except for are we going to make this shot?
Right.
Because we don't have NASA money to shoot any more NASA scenes. So that was the only time where I felt even a sliver of concern. Was just like, hey y'all, we got like one more day of shooting and the sun is like going to go down in like 45 minutes.
Right.
So that was my only nervous moment in the whole process of shooting for a couple months.
I mentioned that I thought maybe this might become a cult classic. What do you hope audiences take away from watching it?
Kelly, I really do. Like, this is so cheesy, but at the premiere a couple weeks ago, I'm with my twin brother, I'm with my agent, and at the end of the movie, I was like, wait a minute, am I getting emotional? Is that am I getting emotional? I really felt like towards the end of the film, and we've seen the film before with producers and obviously read the script and shot the movie, but being in the audience, I just felt like I really hope and pray that people see that you gotta dream. You have to dream because if you dream for the stars, you may land in the trees. It's so cheesy and formulaic, but it's so necessary right now in our culture and in the world. Like, hey, dream big, be delulu, be ridiculous, be nonsensical. because and that's what I hope and pray that every single person who watches it, in the midst of the silliness and some of your favorite celebrities and all the nonsenseness of like, now this is not, she'll be arrested by now. Like, if you let go of the sense, you know, common sense, I hope and pray that people just feel like, yo, I'm ready to dream big again. I'm ready to be that thing that 7-year-old me thought was possible. So that's what I hope audiences, every single audience, and it is a very it is a very girly pop, you
Yeah.
know, movie, but even for at any age and any orientation, that people say, hey, I have that star in me, and I need to light myself up again. I need to allow myself to just lose all sense, right? It's a farcical movie. I want to lose all sense and just believe that I can have the life that I want. That's what I hope audiences take. Because even me, that's how I felt watching it, after shooting it, after reading it, after having a screening with our producers. I felt that I was like, wow, I'm ready to give it my all. And I'm in the movie. So I do
Right.
hope that people feel like, yeah, stop sleeping on you. You still got it, baby. You can still do it. 10 years, 20 years, deaths in the family, no money, no resources. If you're still being called to it, you have to answer that dream in you. You cannot let it lay dormant another moment. That's what I hope audiences feel, because that's how I felt watching it. I was like, ooh, this is hitting me, and I know how it ends. So
Yeah,
that's
it was. I found it inspirational as much as it was adorable and funny, and it was inspirational. And one of the things I found the most interesting that I enjoyed was that all the there's a heavy female cast, and none of the females were pitted against each other. You know, Rex was coming from a different part of life. Say you were coming from a different part of life. You know, maybe their education didn't meet up, but everyone was so supportive of each other. You know, there
yeah,
wasn't a lot of
yeah.
backbiting or things like that that you often see in sort of like heavily female casts of ensembles. You know, I found that really inspirational, and I hope that we see more movies like that of women
Me too.
supporting each other. Yeah,
And I think that's an offshoot from Liz, because that's Liz's heart. As incredible as Liz is, she's so approachable and she's so supportive of people. I think that I'm so glad that the movie we didn't have to go there with it, you know.
yeah,
How about this? Life is already hard enough.
yeah,
Pursuing your dreams is already hard enough than having to be pitted against someone. So
yeah.
I appreciate that too, Kelly. Me too. I appreciated that a lot, because it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to play that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, I have to ask you this because it's one of my favorite shows, and you were on it. You
Tell
know,
me.
you do comedies, you do dark themed dramas. Your list of works is very diverse, but one that stands out above all is one of my favorites, and that is Black Mirror.
I knew
You
you were gonna say
played
it.
Emily on the episode Black
I
Museum
knew you were gonna
that
say it.
opened the season. I was like, what? That was one of the greatest episodes. What was your experience working on that show? What is it like working with Charlie Booker and the cast and all of that?
Life changing. Changed my life, girl. Changed my whole life. I was in New York. I was in Los Angeles, and my manager was like, "Hey, I had just started watching the show.
Oh, okay.
It was seasons in, and as much as I love horror, I had never even heard of it. Or, I love horror and thriller. And a friend of mine had just started watching it. It's like, you should start watching it. And I started watching it, and immediately I was like, this is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
This is my favorite show in my life. So I had just started watching the series myself when I got a call like, hey, Black Mirror wants to check your dates. I was like, Black Mirror, Black Mirror. I'm like, this happens to be actually my real low-key favorite show. So what do you mean they're checking my date?
Mm-hmm.
They were like, they're checking your dates to see if you're available to shoot in London. I was like, I'm available. I will be available. I will teleport, honey. I will change matter and teleport my body there yesterday. Say
Yeah.
less. So they told me that, and weeks went by. I hadn't heard anything from it. It was so hush hush. I went and got a passport under the guise that I already booked it. I went to the passport office with a letter saying, I booked Black Mirror. I need to go. I need an emergency passport today because I'm going to be filming next month in London. I hadn't even had an audition, Kelly. I hadn't heard anything. Do you
Homeland
understand?
Security, you did not hear this?
Right. I'm like, I know, right? Don't come for me, US government. But I went, I was so excited at the opportunity that the day after my agent called, I went to the passport office, got a passport, and then didn't hear anything for weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what happened with that. And then one day I get a call, hey, can you audition for Black Mirror tomorrow? I was like, yeah, went, had a lot of faith. I gave it up to God. I said, give me this job. I packed a bag, Kelly.
Oh,
I
you knew.
packed a suitcase to London, put it at my front door like a lunatic, just like I went and got the passport. And sure enough, I get a call. I actually got a text. Pack your bags, you're going to London. I said, they already packed. They're at the door.
Done.
So I'm like, I was just, manifesting it. I was willing it. And I went to London. We were there for about a month. And it was such an incredible experience, from the table read with Charlie, all the way to the rap party. It was just, I had not done something so hush hush. Like every page
Yes.
that wasn't a page that you're on is blocked out. They don't want anyone to know any of the storyline. They don't want anyone to know that we're even shooting Black Mirror. On that block, there's like a fake name of the show, so nobody knows what the show is. But it changed my life. It changed my life for sure, because even today, for some reason, that episode is going viral and everyone's like, it's all over Instagram, it's all over TikTok. I was like, yo, Black Mirror is the gift that keeps on giving. And who doesn't like being able to choke out a monkey that has a living soul inside of it? Like that,
right.
That was hard and crazy and insane. But
what was that scene like filming?
girl, crazy. Crazy. You feel like a lunatic because it's just a stuff, I have to endow. Come on,
Right.
actor. You gotta endow. I'm endowing all of this frustration into a real teddy bear. And I'm like, and I could feel there's nothing here. This is the tech. But so, and there's like 100 people on set and I'm cursing out a monkey. I had one of those out of body experience. When you have those moments where you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I had that moment where I'm like, girl, you are yelling and choking out a kid's toy as this person took your man. So it was so crazy and so fun. And I was like, ooh, this is the craziest thing I've ever done. I felt like properly mental.
That episode was fantastic. It really juggernauted the season. I felt like it really kicked it off in a great way. I love that show, and I'm so glad it's coming back from what I've heard. What's next for you? Are you working on any new projects we can look out for?
Funny enough, I wrote a comedy. I can't say too much on it because I can't. But over the strike, like so many other artists, I was in a play, I was on a show, and I had a lot of downtime. So I took some time to get with a friend and write a script, and we're pitching it right now to Netflix. So
nice. Very nice. I wish you the best. I wish you the best for that. And look at you writing, acting, flying around on spaceship, beating up monkeys. You're really killing it these days. What would you like to say to those fans who found you on Black Mirror, loved you on Flight Attendant, and are going to love you in this? What would you like to say to them?
I would like to say to them, keep watching. You ain't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen what your girl got in her bag. So keep watching.
I believe that. I believe that. We feed because the city needs help.
I'm so glad that you told me that. I'm so glad that you told me that.
Yeah, I know people always think upstate is like some kind of like very white haven. But we are a city of immigrants. Actually, the city is called the City of Immigrants. We are a sanctuary city, and this color face is definitely not the majority in Syracuse. I can look out my window right now. I have 10 houses on my block. This is the only face that looks like that. And that's normal in Syracuse. And I think people downstate don't realize that.
No, they
but
don't.
It's very diverse.
It's some nice, like when I think of Syracuse, I think of like nice, hunky-dory.
Lots of gunfires every night, lots of diversity. We have lots of diversity. Normally, West African family just bought the house across the street for me. Down the road, we have an entire a series of monks, and they walk down the street and have their shaved heads and everything. It's kind of like a little bit of a Queens kind of.
Yeah. Because Queens is the most diverse zip code, I think, in the country.
Yes, we have a large population of people from Myanmar, a large population from people from Nigeria. Just a really big, and because they come here, they instantly open restaurants, open food trucks. So we have a very diverse palette. And a lot of people have lived here for a very long time, maybe pushed back on that a little bit, you know.
Yeah, of
But
course,
the
of course,
city's
of course.
changing like crazy, and with that comes growing pains of poverty
Are you
and
going to stay? Are y'all
violence.
going to stay upstate?
Yeah, I think so. We bought a house and we have like a duplex, and we rent one section out. And yeah, I like having like this kind of smaller city vibe. And it's only three and
Little
a half
city.
hours to New York, so
Yeah.
not too bad.
Proud of you. Keep doing the good work. I'm all about that. I'm all about goodness and doing good things. Like me and my friends, we started a church of like artists and stuff. So into using like being good, which is why I like the movie. Like I know it's so cheesy, but I'm like,